أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
We're back with another series of the Qur'an, but this time with a special friend. We all know that we have to keep the Qur'an as close to us as Brother Mohammed is, but we also need to talk about it with our close friends.
So sometimes we feel that the Quran is made just for the majalis or just for when we're at a studio, for example, ABTV studio. But really, the Quran is for all times.
It is indeed. And the reason why it is for all times is because it has been revealed for us to take guidance from and implement in our lives. So we thought, what better way of doing that by taking lessons from the Quran, discussing it, showing how we discuss it amongst our friends and seeing what we can do to implement in our lives.
Now, for me to make up my own tafsir about the Quran and then tell people is not right. But for me to read the Quran and think about what I've learned from that surah and to tell my brother Imran Ali here what I feel the verse is talking to me about is something which is recommended in Islam.
Yes, it is. And I think the first step is to get those friends. If you don't have those kind of friends, I'm lucky enough to have friends like Brother Mohammed and others, that we can talk about the Quran in any setting. One example was like we were going hiking in Dubai, and we were just walking up the mountains, and all of a sudden Brother Mohammed burst out reciting this beautiful surah.
So we saw a beautiful mountain as we were climbing, and we remembered the beautiful verse of Surah Al-Hashr. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل. So here Allah starts talking about the Holy Quran and how if it was revealed on a mountain, that mountain would have crushed in humility for the awesomeness of the Quran. But yet the only thing that could take the Quran was this heart that Allah created for you and I.
It goes to show that how much potential we have and what capacity we have that our hearts could take the Quran. So whenever you feel down about yourself, whenever you feel I can't do this or I can't do that, remember we have so much potential and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us that potential. So we're never too weak or never too incapable of doing things. We just have to focus on things, do things right. So step number one, pick your friends right, just so that you can have that right atmosphere around you all the time, so that you can pick up on things like this and then you can help each other with your daily lives.
Correct. And it's not a boring thing. This is our manual of life. So without this, we're lost. A few verses to discuss and then we carry on the banter. That's what we normally do.
Yeah.
And it may sound difficult, but Allah says, Alam nashrah laka sadrak. He told the Prophet, He's expanded his chest so that this Quran can enter into it. And same way we ask Allah to expand our chest so that we can also, inshallah, inculcate and manifest some of these verses into our lives.
Ameen, inshallah. So let me paint this picture. We're hiking on this mountain, and then we go on one of the many peaks of this mountainous region, and then all of a sudden I hear behind me this beautiful voice, and I'm wondering, this sounds familiar, and I turn around
and even me, I turned around and I was like, who is this beautiful voice?
Well, Muhammad, can you please reminisce?
Ahlulbayt من الشيطان الرجيم. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. And then we heard an even more beautiful voice finishing off the verse. And guess whose voice that was?
وَتِلْكَ الْأَمْثَالُ نَضْرِبُهَا لِلنَّاسِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. So amazing that we can share this love for recitation, the love for the Qur'an. Even though our voices are so different, we can still come together and enjoy it together. Now, what is even more beneficial and more fun and more amazing is that we can then discuss what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to tell us. It's not going through the Quran is not only about going through the Quran in the mosque or in a house or in a school setting. It's also about having these high-level discussions on the top of a mountain, for example.
So it's beautiful because in every creation that we see, we will see a name of Allah in that creation. So we see Ismullah al-Kabir or al-Jalal in this mountain. And as that is, we see that these different names are manifested in different beauties around the world, these names of Allah. And just after this verse in Surah Al-Hashr, the different names of Allah are also mentioned. This is beautiful for us to also look at which names Allah uses in the Quran, why He introduces Himself as the first thing as Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. He introduces Himself to us as Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, showing how great these two names are from the other names as well.
Ahsantum. Just a couple of things in terms of correcting our recitation. If you look at this verse, لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن. Now if you look here, Qur'an, there's a hamza there. There's no ayn. A lot of times we'll hear people say Qur'an. So make sure it's pronounced as a hamza or an alif. Qur'an. Nice. A for apple, like that. So don't put overemphasize on that hamza. And the second thing, so that's in terms of makharij. Now in terms of the tajweed rule, على جبل لرأيته. Now you'll notice there's a tanween there. So naturally you say jabalin. But then it's followed by a lam with a shadda. Now lam is one of the yarmalun letters. Now what that means is you drop the tanween and go straight onto the lam. And here it helps because they have the shadda there. So you know you have to go straight to it. So instead of jabalin la ra'aytahu, you drop the tanween and go to jabalil la ra'aytahu. So those are tips of the day.
Thank you so much for watching, and inshallah it was of benefit as it was to us.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون